Miami 300, Mark Martin's the race leader. Todd Bodine's car has gone to the garage. We'll get an update there in a minute.
Number 18 car back in 5th spot.
Leffler on the move, trying to get 4th away from Elton Sawyer as they head for turn 1. That's Leffler in the 18 car. Picks up the spot.
And that's Jeff Gordon, the blue car, following him, trying to get on the inside of Elton Sawyer. Jeff Gordon probably in his last NASCAR Busch Series race for some time.
Kevin Harvick is falling back to 30th position.
Harvick, and I asked the crew what happened, and they said, we think Mr. Jones might have gotten into it.
So Kevin Harvick back in 29th position now as we watch the race for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Jason Leffler, Elton Sawyer, Jeff Gordon, and now Matt Kenseth joining in the light blue colored machine. Kenseth in the 17. Leffler kind of got a little roll going here. Had his career best finish at Phoenix last Saturday with a runner-up spot. Now running well here early at Homestead for a guy that only has 4 top 10s this whole season so far through 31 races. Things have seemed to turn the corner for him in the late going.
Yes, you and I were there at Phoenix. Watched.
Also, Jeff Gordon is getting 4 tires and fuel in the 24.
Jeff Gordon moves up to 3rd.
Right sides only, the 27 car. Right sides only, I'm sure.
Getting word that Casey did not. Gordon's crew. No surprise, gaining him spots on pit road.
Now, there's no shock. Very good pit stop from that 5th position.
Spots in that first set of corners.
And we see him with the 17 car trying to get on the inside of Jeff Gordon. And the 27 on the outside just nowhere to go. Has to slow down for that outside groove. Hornaday goes by.
So Martin back to the lead, Gordon to 2nd, Hornaday to 3rd, 3 deep for the Miami 300. For the NASCAR Busch Series, Mark Martin, the race leader, about to bring the field to a restart from the 4th caution in just 42 laps.
Todd Bodine, once again, the red and white car on the inside, trying to get another lap back. Folks, he's made up 2 laps here in the first 40. His car on the very first of the race failed to ignition, just quit. One of the switches that control on the steering wheel, the kill switches failed. He's trying his best to get back in the race. He's now 3 laps down.
The fact that he's made up 2 already, kind of remarkable. Little assist from some quick caution flags. He didn't have much luck this time, though, and staying good on Martin. Let's mention that Elton Sawyer has stayed on the lead lap through a series of pit stops under the caution, but he is on pit road now as the leaders overtake him. So Elton's going to go 1 lap down after the crash damage of a minute ago. Jason Leffler was involved in that incident with Elton Sawyer. Leffler stayed on the track. He's running in 10th now. Dave Burns can update us. Dave?
I was checking the pit with Bryant Frazier, his crew chief. He said Jason is okay, radioed in, everything is.
Not talking a whole lot about Mark Martin right now because he's doing his thing out in front. This is the race for 2nd and 3rd. Jeff Gordon and Jeff Green. Gordon a little wide there in 1.
It's like Jeff Gordon got in the corner a little bit too hard, or when Jeff Green in the 10 car pulled up behind him, it seemed to loosen his car up a little bit, and he chased the car up the hill. But Jeff Green is not able to capitalize on the slip by Jeff Gordon.
Like Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon making his last drive today in the NASCAR Busch Series. Not getting as much attention as Martin because of Mark's incredible.
I don't know if he got loose or really what happened. Got hit in the side and got turned around, and it's unfortunate. You know, we're trying to race for 5th, and had a pretty decent car. These guys, they'll work on it and try to get it back out.
And the damage is fairly significant. They will try to get him back out, but it'll be a lot of work before they can do so.
57 laps into the Miami 300. Jeff Gordon running 3rd behind Mark Martin and Jeff Green.
Let's watch a little bit and just see what we can find out. But we got to race our interstate car tomorrow, not these today.
Keller picked up 5th spot there from Hank Parker Jr. We check back in on the race for 2nd as Jeff Gordon tries to close in on Jeff Green for that spot. Mark Martin's the man out in front. We'll have more with Bobby Labonte when we come back. We're closing in on halfway into Miami to try and catch Labonte to earn that record 8th title. But Bobby in command, and again 12:30 Eastern time tomorrow here on NBC. Starting in 3rd, in tomorrow's race as we watch the race for second. Jeff Gordon going up around Jeff Green, who's coming to pit road. Second place car on pit road under the green flag at lap 91.
Dave Burns with Jeff Gordon stop.
Jeff Gordon's own crew, the Rainbow Warriors, pitting the car today. They've already made a track bar adjustment to Jeff. They're going to make a wedge adjustment in the left-hand side. There it goes, full of fuel, and Gordon is now heading down pit lane at the halfway point of this race.
And Ricky Hendrick is back on pit road. Did he make some contact?
Jeff Gordon is fourth and Mark Martin is fifth. So Green and Gordon getting out ahead of Martin on this exchange of stops. Story of the race, basically the fact that Mark Martin dominated the first half of the race. We had 4 cautions, all happened
With the wall.
Looks like the leaders are going to come in. Jeff Green, Gordon, and Martin all coming down pit road. That's that inside access lane you see separated from the racetrack. We've had a couple of races here at Homestead where the leader has passed the pace car because it's a shorter way around. NASCAR very specific in the drivers' meeting this morning. You can't pass the pace car. That's a no-no.
Well, the speed limit on pit road is around 50 miles per hour, but going around the race, if you run 50 miles per hour, you would pass the pace car because he's going such a longer distance. So actually, they're probably running 35, 40 through that access road.
These stops coming with 73 laps to go. So it's Green, Gordon, and Martin, the top 3 in the triple box. We go to Dave Burns.
The last time Jeff Green radioed into Harold Howley, he said it's way, way tight coming off. So they're going to make an adjustment to try to take care of that. By the way, the guy from Jeremy Mayfield's crew who's helping out today, that is Scott Wolf from the Winston Cup side. He runs around to the left side now as they try to finish. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon's crew getting the left side done, and they are out first. Marty Snyder.
For the first time all day, Mark Martin has been tight. They put 2 rounds into the right rear. It is a 4-tire stop for Mark Martin, and he will not win the race off pit road 17.
Jeff Gordon gets off pit road first. His crew gets him out ahead of Mark Martin and Jeff Green. The big number, Jeff Gordon in second out first. Martin and Gordon.
Green flag, green flag.
Harvick, the lap car, sliding in between Gordon and Martin.
That's real good news for Jeff Gordon. Oh, Mark does get by Kevin Harvick quickly.
On the subject of Harvick, we have just been informed by NASCAR that he has won the 2000 Rookie of the Year title in the NASCAR Busch Series.
So congratulations goes out to Kevin Harvick.
24-year-old from Bakersfield, California. 3 wins in his rookie season in Busch Series competition, driving for Richard Childress Racing. Right now, though, he's 15th, a lap down in the race leader. Mark Martin hangs right with Jeff Gordon. 62 laps to go. Jeff Gordon leads the Miami 300. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Jeff Gordon leads the Miami 300 over Mark Martin and Jeff Green, the 3 of them within a second, and there are 57 laps to go.
Last lap, both Jeff Gordon had the quickest lap. Actually, Jeff Green was a little bit quicker than either. Jeff Green had the quickest lap. It was Jeff Gordon and Martin in second spot. On board with Jeff Green, the 3rd place cars. He looks at Mark Martin and trying to figure out how he can get by Martin. Can he get up to Jeff Gordon?
Gordon and Martin making their final starts in Busch Series competition here today. Let's get more on Jeff Gordon's spot from Dave.
Well, Lance Dieter's the crew chief, radioed to Jeff Gordon, and he said, you may have to baby it on this set of tires. There was 70 to go when the green came out, and the stop previous, their right front showed the same cord damage that we showed you earlier on Jeff Green's right front. So they told him, Jeff, you better baby those tires because they're going to have to go to the end. Marty Snyder?
And Mark Martin radioed to his crew and wanted to know the same thing. Tony Landis said, be conservative for right now. Let's be patient for about 5 or 6 more laps, then we can push it. You have to remember, this set of tires has to go about 8 laps more than the set of tires that Mark Martin ran all the way down to the course. He said, behind you, Jeff Green is fast. Don't pay attention to him. Pay attention to Jeff Gordon. He's the one we have to race for the win.
How does a driver be conservative on his tires?
Well, they back off a little bit early going in the corner. They don't really wrestle with the steering wheel right there in the middle. They kind of turn the steering wheel gently and get back on the throttle gently. Try to drive the car as easy as they can. No more, no quick herky-jerky movements with that steering wheel.
On their car starting the race, but they just felt it was something they had to do to be able to finish. Jeff Gordon leads Mark Martin and Jeff Green with 46 laps to go in the Miami 300. It's the season finale for the NASCAR Busch Series from Homestead Miami Speedway. Jeff Gordon there leading the Miami 300. Then a series of caution flag pit stops. Jeff Gordon got out first. It's Jeff Gordon leading at an average speed of 121.7 miles an hour, about 8 miles an hour slower than the track record here for the Busch Series.
It looked like that Mark Martin was going to come up and contest Jeff Gordon for the lead. He got himself into about, I don't know, 4 or 5 tenths of the lead, but all of a sudden he started pulling away from from Mark Martin again. I'll get this out in a minute.
Come on, Beat goes to pit road for attention. And Mark Martin, look at this, closing in on Jeff Gordon. Chopped down another couple of car lengths on him.
Last time by, he was about a half mile per hour faster than Jeff Gordon. Here he comes off the line. That time, he was still about a half mile per hour faster than Jeff Gordon.
Marty has more on Mark Martin.
Well, Benny, you speculated earlier that when Mark Martin pulled up to Jeff Gordon that Jeff Gordon pulled away from him. Actually, Mark kind of let off at that point. There's a speculation among his pit crew. Mark hasn't said a word, but they think he was just trying out the car, seeing if he could get to Jeff Gordon, and he did, so he backed off, saved his tires for a little bit more, and I just asked Tony Lambert, did you just tell him to go? And he just smiled as if they know who the winner of this race might be.
Well, Mark Martin is closing on Jeff Gordon. He's running faster than Gordon each successive lap. We're closing in on the finish of the Miami 300. Stay with us. We'll find out how it turns out. "29 laps to go in the Miami 300. Mark Martin is closing on Jeff Gordon.
Ron Young, Martin closes up on the back bumper of him, has to go the high side. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon's on the inside of Chad Chapman in the 25 car.
Both drivers making their final start in the NASCAR Busch Series. Gordon, of course, only running a handful of events last year and this, trying to get his 5th Busch Series win. Mark Martin, the winningest driver in series history. Just this season, he's got 5 wins, 45 overall. Trying to add on to the all-time record with one final checkered flag.
Last 4 or 5 years, the 60 car Mark Martin has been Mr. Busch when it comes to this series, this touring series. The guy to beat about every time he showed up.
And you know, this is one of the few tracks that Mark has run a Busch Series race on in the last 5 years that he hasn't won at. His best finish here is 3rd on 3 occasions.
See Jeff Gordon going to the corner on the outside of Tony Raines. Oh, Mark has to go on the outside as well. If Mark can catch Jeff passing the car on the outside off the corner, he might be able to sneak on the inside and go 3 wide down the straightaway, get position. But Jeff has got to catch that car at a perfect spot for him, and I think Jeff is probably a little bit too wise for that.
Talked about Mark running easy for a while and now turning up the heat, trying to save that right front. How much do we think Jeff Gordon was doing the same thing, and does he maybe have something left to try and put on Mark? I mean, we've still got 27 laps to go.
Very possibly. Both these race car drivers, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, very, very intelligent when it comes to saving that car and knowing exactly how hard you can run the car.
They pulled away from 3rd place Jeff Green by 2.5 seconds, 2.63. The margin now from leader Gordon back to Jeff Green, so he has fallen out of the chase here. And in fact, Jason Keller, his teammate, is closing a little bit on him for 3rd spot. He's still got a ways to go before he'll catch it. Interesting to watch how much the racing line has changed throughout the day. They all started out trying to hug that yellow line all the way around the insides of the corners. Now they're both going down below it at both ends of the racetrack, getting into the corner. Then they kind of let the car run up a little bit and then cut back down below it.
Watch Mark just goes down on the apron of the racetrack. I think there's some grip there with that left side tires. I think all the cars have been on the racetrack. I think it's very slippery there. I think when they go down to the left, they're getting some grip with that left side, and that's why they're doing it.
Focusing on the race for the lead. There are 14 cars on the lead lap, but this is the closest race for position at the moment, and it's a good one as Martin continues to stalk and chase Jeff Gordon to try and find a way around him.
We talk about these banks, only 6 degrees banking in the corner, but the apron of the racetrack is completely flat.
Going to take a commercial break here. This is our last commercial break. We go from here to the checkered flag to see who wins the Miami 300. We'll come back. Up next on NBC, it's the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame taking on the Boston College Eagles. The Irish trying to avenge an upset loss at the hands of BC a year ago. That's next, right after our race here on NBC. Watching the fight for the win in the Miami 300 between Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin. They've been in and out of lap traffic, and the interval between them has shifted accordingly.
And Jeff Gordon is really getting a break now. Most of these guys are moving over. Kevin LePage, the 71 car. They're moving up the racetrack and giving these guys the preferred line on the bottom of the racetrack. If some of these guys were stay on the bottom and force Jeff to pass them on the outside, and they do it off the corner, that would be the chance that Mark Martin needs to jump on the inside and try to pass Jeff Gordon.
As they begin to race harder and harder for the win, remember, tires are a story in this race. At 60 laps earlier in a couple of sets of pit stops, we began to see some Ford showing through the right front tires on some of these cars. They stopped with 70 laps to go if we go without the yellow to the finish. Of cars on the lead lap there, and look at Mark Martin closing in on the back bumper of Jeff Gordon. 19 to go. Catching him's one thing. Passing him's another.
Is another, because when these cars anymore, they're so aerodynamic. When they pull up behind another car, you lose the full complement of air on the nose of the car. You lose that downforce, and the front starts sliding off the corner as you accelerate. We call that an arrow push. See, now Jeff Gordon got a break. He caught the car going in the corner. That was Randy LaJoie. Caught him going in the corner. He was able to get his car down to the bottom, to the groove. And the 60.
They're both very quick, but unfortunately, neither one of them have been able to get up and challenge Jeff Gordon or Mark Martin today.
Green running 3 seconds behind Jeff Gordon. Keller running 4.8 seconds behind the leader, Gordon. And Gordon's put a little space on Mark Martin here in these last couple of laps.
All of a sudden, he seems to pick up some speed. He's about 3/4 of a second now in front of Mark Martin.
There's the interval between the two.
Let's go down to Marty Snyder.
And there's some concern in the Mark Martin pit. He radioed to the crew. He said the right front is starting to wear very badly. I'm a little concerned about it. And all Tony Lambert said is do what you can do. And it appears that Mark Martin may be giving up the ghost on trying to win this race.
Watch this car slide up the racetrack. We've seen him down on this yellow line all the way through. Oh, once again, that big wiggle off turn 4. Boy, Mark Martin right now is fighting a very ill-handling race car.
And Jeff Gordon getting out to that kind of a lead. Now he can try and take care of his tire too. He can kind of slow down to Martin's pace and just try and keep that gap between them. Because again, Gordon's going to have the same concerns about his right front. Running the 70 laps on that set of tires. So this could still change yet. If one of these guys is running too hard and ends up going right through that tire. Let's mention that P.J. Jones has just retired his car. Engine failure. As the reason out, we saw the smoke on the machine earlier. He's going to finish 37th today.
15 more laps to fight this thing. Mark Martin has to be looking at that scoreboard. They're talking to Tony Lambert every time down the straightaway and said, how many more laps? How many more laps do I have to sit out here? And look at these guys on the apron of the racetrack trying to find some grip someplace.
Todd Bodine moves low, gives the leaders way. Todd lost 5 laps earlier in the event when the mandatory kill switch for the ignition that's mounted on the steering wheel shorted out in turn 1 right after the green flag. So the leaders by. With 13 to go, that is 0.8 of a second between Gordon and Martin. Well, what do you think, BP? You're in Martin's car. You know that right front's starting to give you a little trouble. Do you try and cool it off? Can you try and cool it off and make a final charge? What is he doing?
Well, I think he's just trying to finish the race right now. I think that's what he's trying to do, Alan, when he goes in the corner here, when he lets it drift up the racetrack like this. I think he's trying to take it easy on that right front.
So you think he's kind of saying, okay,
I surrender. I just want to see the checkered flag right now.
Gordon to the inside of Jason Jarrett. Jarrett in 36th position, now 6 laps down. had the hood up on his car earlier in the race.
And once again, we keep talking about the right front tire wearing. It's not anything that's wrong with the tire. The teams have just found if they use air to force these cars down the straightaway, they're much faster. But when they do that, the car travels so much that the tire leans in at the top, gains negative camber till only the inside.
Gotten away from Jimmy Johnson.
Drives away from Johnson just a little bit. Meanwhile, there comes Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin running 1 and 2 with just 8.5 laps to go.
Phil Carson's car. Phil making his final drive in this machine. He's running in 20th now. Put 2 laps down, line and even. Looks like Martin was able to close a little bit on Gordon there when they were getting around Phil. And there is Jeff Gordon's interval over Mark Martin. This could be determined. Martin's chance to win this thing could be determined by what kind of traffic they catch in the final couple of laps.
I think he can make it all the way around. Meanwhile, folks, this is a battle for the lead. The blue car is Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin in second spot. They come off the line, 5 laps to go. Both these guys fighting very, very worn tires as they try to finish this next 7.5 miles.
Final Busch Series drive for both Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin. Not going to run the Saturday shows anymore next season to concentrate on their Winston Cup Sunday effort. Both very determined to go out with a win entering the race. Both in position to try and do something about it over these final 5 laps. Gordon right now with the upper hand thanks to his pit crew. He got the lead on a pit stop that came back at lap 129. He has led since that point. Now 67 laps led for Jeff Gordon. And Joe Nemechek has gotten clear of the racetrack and we will stay under the green flag.
4 to go. Jeff Gordon down on the bottom of the race. Look on the apron of the racetrack, not even using the track. That's supposed to be for the cleanup trucks down there. But these cars, these drivers are using that apron of the track because there's a little more grip there than up on the racetrack.
Kelly Denton in the 77, getting the leader's way. More traffic just ahead.
Mark slow, off the throttle, on the throttle, off the throttle.
But he's hanging right with Gordon, and he's running identical lap speeds to him. Last time by, they were both at 141.71. This time, in fact, Mark even a little faster.
And look at Mark on the apron of the racetrack, all the way on the apron, trying to take the car into the corner. I think Mark Martin right now, Jeff Gordon, they've forgotten about tires. There's one thing in their mind: win the race.
B2 to go when they come back to the start-finish line. Jeff Gordon seeking his first NASCAR Busch Series win in over a year. Mark Martin seeking what would be his 6th win of the season. There's Rick Hendrick and Jack Roush, the 2 team owners, looking on.
I don't think either one of them think they're going to win. I think they're both concerned about these cars being able to finish. As I said, very, very worn tires on these cars.
Mark flipping the dirt with the left side tires on his car in a desperate move to find some traction.
Doing anything he can, just trying anything he can to gain on this blue car of Jeff Gordon.
The white flag flies when they come out of turn 4. Lap traffic is ahead. Jay Sauter, last car on the lead lap in 13th position. The leaders will catch as they come to the line. White flag is out. One more lap in the Miami 300. Gordon's lead would appear somewhat safe, but he can't afford a slip.
Well, with Jay Sauter, will these slow cars make a difference? Mark Martin driving on the apron of the racetrack. Don't get in the dirt. There's no grip there, Mark.
Half a lap to go.
Jay Sauter's still up there. They go by wrong number. That's not a problem. Turn 4, the last time they're coming up.
Martin trying to catch Gordon for a final victory if he can. Here they come off of turn number 4 to the checkered flag. He's not going to be able to do it. Jeff Gordon is going to win the Miami 300 over Mark Martin in both drivers' final event in the NASCAR Busch Series. A duel from pit stops at lap 129 to the checkers at lap 200. The pit crew got Jeff Gordon the lead, and he held it from there.
I think that Mark Martin would have stayed in front, had his pit stop, gotten him out there, and see a bunch of guys, happy guys, for that 24 car.
Jeff Gordon's team getting the job done. He gets the lead on the pit stop, leads to the finish for Jeff Gordon. It would be his first win of the 2000 Busch Series season and his 5th career victory. He takes it unofficially by 0.24 seconds over Mark Martin. Less than 0.3 of a second between the two. Here are the unofficial results of today's race. A word from our winner. Here's Dave Burns.
And Jeff Gordon hops out of the Pepsi Chevy, finds his crew chief Lance Dieters. And Jeff, what does it mean to win in your final Busch Series start, but to beat the acknowledged king of the Busch Series, Mark Martin?
Well, that's quite a feat, you know. Man, he ran me hard. These guys just did an excellent job. Ricky Hendrick tested this car. I didn't even drive it until I got here, so he did an excellent job. I want to thank Hendrick Motorsports. They did a great job putting this car together. Of course, Pepsi and Fritos and Chevrolet, Goodyear, Winter Circle, everybody involved with this team. I'm worn out. It's been a heck of a day, but I owe it all this team. They did a great job, and to do it by outrunning Mark, man, he ran me hard. I didn't think I could get him.
What do you think your right front tire looks like about now?
There's not much left of it. I about had to run through the grass to get around the track. Pretty tough place to get around.
All right, well, Jeff Gordon wins his 5th race of his Busch Series career. Let's go to Marty Snyder.
And with Mark Martin, who finishes out a terrific NASCAR Busch Series.
Tries to win the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. Now to South Bend, Indiana. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame playing host to Boston College. We'll talk to you tomorrow from here in Homestead.